Where is he?
Okay.
There he is.
All right. Okay. I don't have much time. If you can hear me, I'm on the run with Jesse Pinkman. We got to make this quick, though, Terry. We got to make it quick. I'm on the run.
All right. Well, the money's in the fridge.
Okay.
The Hoover's over there.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Alaska?
We can make it work. We can make it work.
We can make that. We can make that work. We can make that work in a Fiero. It should have been called Fiero, a Breaking Bad movie.
that would be lame. Welcome back to the Almost Sideshow, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam. That is Terry, and we are here breaking down El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie.
Break down an El Camino.
Did the El Camino breakdown? Is that what we're talking about here? I don't know. Definitely got red tagged. We got a lot of questions about what happened with Skinny Pete and Badger in this, but I love that they're back here. I'm really excited to break down this Netflix movie. This appeared on Zach's top 10 films of 2019 to much debate from Todd. I think this is a legit movie because it's a Netflix film.
It's a legit movie. Todd just doesn't like to include made-for-TV movies because they're not Oscar eligible. That's really what it comes down to.
Yes. Well, when you've seen like 10,000 movies, you have that. You can afford that luxury. Anyway, we're not just breaking down El Camino, Breaking Bad. We are also celebrating the 5-year anniversary of the Breaking Bad movie. So it counts for a couple different reviews going on here. This is obviously, I was excited that El Camino is being celebrated on the year that it came out. And finally, the culmination of all the Breaking Bad stuff before we dive into Better Call Saul as well. Where the last episode I feel of Breaking Bad was kind of the end of the Walter White saga and kind of a good culmination with a lot of cool callbacks to the greater Breaking Bad universe. This episode here of El Camino is the final chapter and a very homage to anything Jesse Pinkman, which is a beautiful thing that we will be witnessing and talking about. So really excited.
Yeah, it's a neat epilogue, and it's like the perfect epilogue to like tie together the loose ends that you kind of didn't even know you wanted tied together. And
Hey,
I remember
back.
Yeah, and I remember this was like so hush hush under wraps that this was even happening. I've been going back and listening through some of our old episodes, and I listened through, we did what are you looking forward to in the fall of 2019 type of deal. And Zach had on his list El Camino, and Todd was like, I haven't even heard this movie exists, because it was so like nobody knew what this was happening. No one knew what was going on. And all of a sudden, boom, it's there. And yeah, and it you can tell some things. We'll talk about it. It continues the story, but it's yeah, we'll talk. But let's get into it. I want to do this. Let's make it happen. Okay.
Roll your synopsis.
It's weird. This is like the first time we are doing a sideshow of a movie, which I think it just is a little different. But anyways, here we go. Breaking Bad epilogue movie, El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. Here's our synopsis. It may be 6 years since Breaking Bad ended, but El Camino starts literally seconds after Breaking Bad ended, as we see Jesse Pinkman speeding away from Uncle Jack's compound in Todd's El Camino. He dodges the cops and goes to the only people he can trust to help. Skinny Pete and Badger. Apparently, they're the only ones anyone can trust at this point. Jesse calls old Joe to junk the car, but the low jack on the car gets activated, beckoning the cops to Jesse's location. Skinny thinks on his feet. He takes the keys to the El Camino, tells Badger to drive his car to the Mexican border and leave it, and Jesse gets Badger's car. Skinny will tell the cops they traded cars. No one will be the wiser. So now where will Jesse run? Enter the flashback cuts, where we see an old interaction between Jesse and Todd when Jesse was in captivity, where Todd takes Jesse to his apartment and discusses how he is hiding his money. So Jesse starts to search Todd's abandoned apartment. Right as he finds the money, a few cops come looking for the same thing. They're actually welders that helped build the apparatus that imprisoned Jesse. Jesse talks his way into splitting the money with them. So now what? Yeah, 3 ways. So now what? He starts checking into every vacuum cleaner shop in Albuquerque looking for Saul's disappearer. He finally finds him thanks to the minivan. When he finally reveals himself, Ed the vacuum guy says Jesse owes double since he didn't pay for the failed first pickup. He's a little short of double, so he breaks into his parents' empty house to get a gun. Then walks in on the welders throwing a party. He asks for the $1,800 he needs as a favor. Instead, he gets a duel. Jesse wins by cheating, and now he takes the full sack of cash. Now Jesse can disappear. He is now Mr. Driscoll of Alaska. Why Alaska? Mike told him he'd like it. The movie starts with a manic Jesse driving away, leaving captivity. The movie ends with an at peace Jesse driving away, finally free. There you go.
Oh wow. Again, a lot of it's weird. Unlike people who have watched the show when it originally aired, we didn't have to wait long to get to this specific movie here, especially me being I hadn't seen it. You watched it back in 2019, but still, this is probably your second time watching, I would probably imagine.
I actually watched it, I think it was 2020 when I finally got caught up on Breaking Bad, and I watched it like the day after I watched the finale.
Okay. So it's been a week since we did, or a little over a week since we did the finale. Time has eluded me. But anyway, it seems it's been a little bit. So I've been able to process the final episodes, kind of giving the show a little time to breathe. And I was sucked back into this world again, man. And seeing Jesse, that like if we never got this movie, I would be kind of like, what happened to Jesse? Obviously, that's the biggest question probably anybody had, because that's the character you feel for the most. Even though it's a Walter White show, it's definitely Jesse is the one character. Like, this guy is just kind of an idiot, but he did get his GED. He did get his diploma. He got his diploma. Dick. Yeah, great scene. But it's cool to see like little homages to Jesse Pinkman's character. Obviously, we get Jesse's parents are here. We get Skinny and Badger here. We get Jane's here. We get Walter here. We're spoiling this. It's been a while, but still, the only callback we didn't really get was an Andrea scene, but we do get the Brock scene at the very end, which is a beautiful little nod to that. So, and Mike too. We have to mention Mike here as well. A lot of good little callbacks, I guess, and Todd would be another good one. But I love seeing all the characters that they bring back here. I think it all worked well. There's some questions I have with there's some flaws I think there is here, especially watching it so quickly after the show. But at the same time, is that there's some really good things that they do in this movie, where I do have the movie overall 3.5 stars. It is, if I watch it again, which I'll probably be watching it later after we record this episode, because it was one of those things where wife had to leave halfway through it. So I was like, don't worry, I'll watch it again, because it's going to be good. It's going to be worth another watch too. So I'm really excited for the second watch later tonight. But yeah, it's a fantastic little film. Vince Gilligan knows this world so well. It feels just like the show, but things a little bigger in scale, like that the blowing up of the warehouse. The show probably wouldn't have been able to do that. Like, there's some cool things the show does, but that explosion was pretty cool. Those shots, and some of the things, the callbacks they were able to do was pretty awesome. So looking forward to diving into each category too.
Yeah, it's 6 years later when they finally make this, and I can see why, because when the series ends, if there's one flaw with how it ends, it's like you said, what happened to Jesse? Like Walt, you get that finale of, all right, we know where Walt's story ended. And we ended the saga of Walter White. And Jesse, we get that little glimmer. And you're right, it's a movie, or it's a story about Walt. Like, it is the Walter White story. And I think originally it was always going to be the Walter White story. Jesse was a character that wasn't even supposed to last the first season, but he worked so well that it became the Walt and Jesse show. And so when you get to the end and you're like, wait, we don't get to see what happens to Jesse. He drives off, the cops drive in, and that's the end. So it's great to go back and see exactly what happens with him. Yeah, and there are a ton of callbacks, more than you mentioned, and I'm adding a category in there that's best callback, because I think we got to talk about it, because there's so many of them. I tried to keep a running list. I don't know if I got them all. But it's really good. And you're right. It sucks you right back into the whole thing. I would say my biggest problem with this is how much you can tell that it is 6 years later. Like, you can tell Walt is wearing a skull cap. You can tell Badger's too old. Like, he's one of the ones that shows on. And most of all, we got to talk about Todd. Like, I mean, I didn't realize Jesse Plemons like gained 75 pounds in 6 years, because that's what it looks like. And I'll give it this. Like, he was, out of everyone in the cast, he was like the one that when he started was literally still a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how old he was, but he was not that old when he started on Breaking Bad. And so it's literally just him growing into his body. I get that, but it's a completely different character watching him play it in El Camino than watching him play it in Breaking Bad, because like in Breaking Bad, like, he's this skinny, scrawny kid that's got this weird persona to him. And yeah, the weird persona is still there, but him adding on the weight, like, I didn't realize how tall Jesse Plemons was until you see him like fully filled out standing next to Jesse. I'm like, dude, he's like physically imposing. Like, that's part, like, Jesse can't do anything because Todd is like bigger than, like, before you're like, Jesse could totally take out Todd.
I read something on this too. I think Jesse Plemons has, or they've talked about that as well. It's like, so he's like, yeah, I definitely am different looking, but it's kind of like how I'm remembered in Jesse's mind. That's how Jesse remembers me.
This giant monster.
That's how he had said it, more or less. It's like somebody in the cast that said, like, that's how Jesse kind of remembered, because it's a flashback. Everything they have is in flashback, which I guess because like he's scared of him in a certain scenes. Like, he has a gun in his hand. He could have shot him, but he's scared of him because he's physically imposing him now.
I guess
I kind of see, because he's been tortured for how like months, whatever. So it kind of makes sense.
But like, and like, if you were to do this now, I think it would almost fit better now, because like Jesse Plemons just did Kinds of Kindness, and he's pretty small in that. Like, he's slimmed back up. Civil War, he's still got a little bit of, and he's just not a skinny, scrawny dude. I looked it up. He was about 25 when he made the last season of Breaking Bad, so he was about 31 when he did El Camino. He's Todd's age, which is kind of funny that Todd is Todd's age. But
the same, yeah, almost. I'm like about the same age as him too. So
yeah, but that's the biggest thing, is just the Todd of it all just takes you out of it, and it reminds. I see it as, it's a reminder that, oh, this might be looking at the exact same time period, but it's 6 years later. Like, you can tell Jesse's a little older, like Aaron Paul's a little older, but it fits. It's still Jesse. Jesse Plemons is the one that you're like, this doesn't even feel like the same guy.
True. No argument there. But yeah, that's definitely kind of glaring. When you see the scene with Mike at the very beginning, it's like, yeah, he got a droopy. His eyes a little more droopier. But it was great to see like that callback there. But yeah, it's bringing any character back. There's only so much they could do. The body still ages, but it's that's the only thing where you can tell it's definitely flashbacks, or callbacks and reshooting old stuff to try to make stuff fit in the timelines, which it does. It does work really well, but it's still good to see those characters again, though. And it would be weird if those characters didn't show up.
True. Very true. Yeah. All right. Well, let's give it the old sideshow treatment. It's weird. It's like, are we sideshowing this? Are we deep diving this? But we're definitely sideshowing this because it's Breaking Bad.
We have our own categories for the sideshow than deep dives.
What's the best scene?
This is tough. I have a couple here. I have two I want to shout out for sure. Well, I guess we can. It's a lot longer. It's 2 hours long. We have basically 2 episodes of a show here. I'll shout out one. You shout out one. I'm going to shout out Best Quality Vacuum. When he first goes into the vacuum shop, when he's searching for it. First of all, I didn't realize that they were going to touch on that character again. So when he's like going through trying to get the money, I was like, what's the big deal about the money? I thought maybe he's trying to find Walt's cut to try to, like, that's the money that he has, but it's a different money as well. So going
one of Robert Forster's final performances too.
So I was thinking about that, man. They lucked out, like he died shortly after this. It's like they wouldn't, like, the movie would be completely different if that character wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So, but it's that's a great scene when they're introducing. He's like, I don't know who you think I am. I'm like, and I'll call the cops. And he's explaining, like, oh, you didn't call the cops. He's like, oh, that's perfect response time.
Yeah,
the whole scene is great.
Gotta love that response time.
Robert Forster and Jesse and Aaron Paul back and forth is brilliant, and it's good to see those two characters actually on screen for the first time.
Yeah, Robert Forster died the day El Camino debuted.
Wow,
October 11th, 2019 is the day he died, and it's the day it debuted on Netflix.
Huh. Well,
and it had an LA premiere 4 days earlier. But yeah,
that is,
there you go.
Well, that's a sobering. Yeah, wow, that's a sobering thought there.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
okay, so yeah, that was the one of the ones I had written down too. So I'll go with the other one first. I'll come up with something else also. My other best scene was Skinny coming up with a plan, like the skinny man with the plan.
Clutch.
Yeah, and as he's going through, I'm like, oh wait, this is actually gonna work. That's actually a really good plan. Like, Skinny to the rescue. Like, he's kind of been a
bitch.
Yeah. And but it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And like, you go in Mexico? No, Alaska is like even better. Go park by the border. And like, he's got the whole thing figured out. And I mean, at this point, he has been Walt's assassin. Like, that actually was like maybe a day or two earlier. Like, think about that. Like, Skinny and Badger with the laser pointers was only like maybe 2 days. Like maybe 36 hours.
But I thought, why would Skinny think that he was going to Mexico when he previously told Walt? I thought he was in Alaska.
Oh. Well, no, because the fastest escape is Mexico.
True.
That's why he said Mexico.
Yeah.
Because they're in Albuquerque. It's only a couple hours to the border.
But he in the episode he said, I heard he was in Alaska.
Yeah, he did say that. Well, because he just disappeared.
He probably mentioned, like, eventually I'm going to go to Alaska. Like, he's probably mentioned that in their friendship. So
that could be, since we find out he'd heard about Alaska earlier when he was planning on getting out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a clutch move, and then the ultimate gesture to Jesse is Skinny giving up his beanie.
Dude, yeah, great.
Like that was and the fact that he's wearing like the remembrance of Skinny the rest of the time, that's just cool. It's just cool.
Yeah, it's also a good homage to it, and remembering that both Badger, my wife, this was a scene that she had seen with me before she had to leave, but she's like, they are so good to him. They're so good to, like, they're so loyal to Jesse, which is awesome. She's like, you're my freaking hero and shit, man. That's why. It's great. But it's also it's hard not to think back. Like Badger's already did time for Jesse, and I'm assuming Skinny's going to do some time, and he knows that he's the one that says, I'm driving the El Camino because I've always wanted one. Plus, at the same time is that I'm going to do this, and it's going to be believable. And so he'll probably do some time for just having that car in his possession, or do something.
I mean, but he could almost like plead like ignorance in this. Like this is the morning after he escapes.
Correct, but
it's
if
like,
it was Badger, he wouldn't be able to do that. He's already got a rep.
Right. Well, Skinny does too. That's how Skinny got to know Tuco. He was his cellmate.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. I forget. That's a little bit of dialogue. That's what I forget about. Yeah, I forgot about that way back in season 1 or
season 2? Season 1. Yo, I'm Skinny Pete.
That's oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
But I think he could claim ignorance even and be like, no, my buddy Jesse, he showed up and he's got this cool car, and I told him I always wanted an El Camino, and he traded me pink slips. He took my car, and I don't know where he went. Yeah. Well, he's a wanted man. It's like, oh, I hadn't turned on the news yet today. You guys are looking for him? Like he could totally do that because this is like maybe 12 hours after the whole thing went down.
Yeah, true. It's a good call. That's good. Yeah, that's that whole sequence of him going to their house and doing the conversation over the video games again. What was the word he was saying?
Dude, I'm apexing.
Apexing
as best I can, man.
Yeah, it's so good. You couldn't even drive Miss Daisy, whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
Like that whole sequence is great. Great Badger and Skinny. It's great to get those characters back. It's a fantastic scene too. And old Joe, throwing old Joe in there too.
Yeah, and to think this is 6 years later, and they sit down and they can jump back into those characters like not a day has gone by and just start razzing on each other like they had the entire time. Like it's like amazing.
It's like Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen and 40-year-old.
It totally is. It's totally
them.
Yep.
Yeah. Great scene there. I have the duel. The duel is pretty awesome. Like the whole time we already know that he has 2 guns on him. I'm like, you said your finger was the gun. That's the whole time I was thinking from Field of Dreams there. I was like, he's got the other gun in his jacket. Like, like obviously as a viewer, we're knowing.
You're on fire.
You're on fire, dude. Oh, yeah. That was pretty cool. He's like, you brought a 22? I got some tin cans here. Yeah, it's good. Good stuff. The duel is pretty awesome.
So I'll go, if I'm going to go with something else, I'll go with the first time that we meet those guys. And everything in the apartment is great. Like whether it's the flashback with Todd, I keep on wanting to say Jesse because it's Jesse Plemons, but no, Jesse's the other character. Yeah. And then so everything with that leading into the looking, and then the guys show up and Nosy Lou and just all of that. It all works so well, and Jesse works the situation perfectly.
Yeah. What's your obviously best scene here? What's your favorite shot? Like if you had one shot in the film, like that frame is the best.
The overhead of the floor plan of the apartment. Yeah. And Jesse going everywhere.
That one's great. I have another one that's inside that apartment. It's when Jesse's behind the mattresses and he's like, don't move. And he's sort of throwing with the gun in the shadows. It's like, yes, that shot was so, but then, and he does it even better. He's like crawling on the floor up at the guy. Oh, it's such a good shot. It's so good. But yeah, the overhead that's the money right there.
It's a great one. That's a great one. All right. The Ken wins Bogdan douchebag of the movie.
There's a couple.
There are a couple.
Who you got?
I've got I'm going with Casey, who's the redhead. I normally don't go for redheads.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
love those redheads.
Yeah. Todd loves those redheads.
Yeah,
But
he
no,
does.
he's just
Both of them.
he's just dumb. And well, especially the don't react. We found the money. Like, it's like, no, you come on, man. Come on. And he's the one that has to jump for the gun during the duel too. And like he's just this coward that tries to find an upper hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. I had Neil and Casey down as well. I think they both have their moments, but Casey, yeah, definitely.
Neil's a badass though. Like he's
And
fun.
he's so much cooler. I like who he looks. He's I don't think they showed that guy in Breaking Bad, did they?
I don't think
So
he ever
it was
showed up in Breaking
completely
Bad.
different guy, but it makes sense. Like who'd made that apparatus? It's not Uncle Jack's guys, but really cool to see like they actually were thinking about a new character, which I think Neil would probably be my new face here. But I think if I had to go with some, Lou is easy. That's the low hanging fruit. That's the low hanging fruit of the episode. Lou, the plant guy. I'm gonna go with Clarence. Now, Clarence, $750 an hour for the first hour, and then so you have these 3 women pop out of the back of the car, and there's 5 guys. So what happens if those guys are not so nice and they start abusing those girls? And Clarence, you're taking a nap. Aren't you supposed to be like the bodyguard of these girls? You're supposed to be like the pimp in this situation. You're taking a nap. Yeah, it's kind of a douchebag move. Like Gator wouldn't play that. Yeah, Gator wouldn't play
that. Yeah, that's a good call.
Clarence. Yeah, it's a douchebag.
The pinkman, stickman of the episode.
Oh, Badger, because he's built for love.
I'm built for love. It's not my fault. That was a great line.
Good line.
I'm built for love. Is it my fault I'm built for love? Yeah. I went with Mr. Driscoll because I mean that handsome mug with that nice sweater he's got on, like rolling into Haines, Alaska. You know he's gonna be macking it up.
Yeah. Chicks dig the scars too. So
yeah.
There's that. That's a good one, Mr. Driscoll. Yeah, it definitely was Mr. Driscoll because he literally fit in that little storage compartment in the U-Haul too.
It's true. That's true. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh no, you know what? I've got a better one. The Pinkman Stickman is Jake Pinkman. Off on his band trip in England. Really? Like Pinkman is going to be a stickman on an overseas high school trip.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good one. That's the one.
Mm-hmm,
that's the winner.
Mm-hmm. He's learned a few too many things from his older brother.
Yeah. He's good.
All right. The best new face. Hey, that's Danny Trejo. Hey, that's Robert Forster. Hey, that's old Joe. I don't know. Danny Trejo. I said Danny Trejo. I was just trying to come up with other ones.
I'm just repeating it.
What do you got?
I don't got, well, new face. I don't know the guy. Neil is obviously he's the newest face here. He's pretty awesome. I just don't recognize where he's from. So
I was looking at his page, and he's got some classics from some classic Adam picks here. So he was in Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
He was in The Babysitter Killer Queen.
Oh, that's the second one. Okay, that's on Netflix.
He was. Those were the 2 that I'd seen. That I was like, oh, Adam knows those ones.
Yep.
But yeah, he is a face that I'm like, I know that face. And then he was like in one episode of Mad Men. He was in an episode of NCIS LA. He was an episode of NCIS Regular. He was in 36 episodes of a show called The Mick. I don't even remember that show. He was in the Righteous Gemstones TV show.
Oh, that's a good show. Okay.
He played the devil.
What the?
And Scotty. He was in 8 episodes, it says.
Okay, well then, Scotty. I've watched
in
that whole show. It's really good.
He was in an episode of Lucifer. He was in 2 episodes of History of the World Part 2. He was in No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence.
Scott the Mick. Okay, I see it now. Suncoast. That was a movie from this year that Todd reviewed. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Superstore. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
he's a face you recognize, and you don't really know from where.
Big John is his name in Halloween Kills.
Big John.
Okay. Nice. All right.
Let's see here. I didn't really have any best new face other than the guys.
Because there's only 2 new people that they really show. Is
and Clarence and the strippers,
and then that the one of the detectives on TV, I guess. But
yeah, I'll go Nosy Lou. He's
yeah.
new, and everyone knows the Nosy Lou.
Yeah, some Karen.
Okay, so here's where I'm gonna put it in here. Best callback. So let's just go over the callbacks we get here in this show. We get a callback to Jane. We get to see Walt. We get to see Skinny. We get to see Badger. We get to see Old Joe. We get to see Kenny. We get to we don't see Brock, but
where's Kenny?
Learn about Kenny is in the flashback scene where
Kenny is the Todd,
the mustachioed guy.
The mustachio.
And then Todd, Ed the vacuum guy, Mr. and Mrs. Pinkman, Mike Ehrmantraut, and possibly my favorite, I think this is my favorite callback, the buildings. Like, we get to see the strip mall without Better Call Saul. We get to see the building, the Pollos Hermanos, but it's no longer Pollos Hermanos. It's something else now. So it's showing the time has gone on. Yeah, like they do a little time lapse thing. It's early on. It's right after. So Jesse passes out in Badger and Skinny's, and then they do a little time lapse montage going to the next morning. And the next morning, it like pans through some sites of the city, and it shows the strip mall, and there's no more Saul Goodman office. And then it shows the Pollos Hermanos place, but it's now called Twisters because Pollos Hermanos is no more, because Gus is no more. And then it goes to the house and shows Jesse waking up.
Huh. Okay, right at the beginning. Okay, did not
right at the beginning.
Didn't catch that at all. That's a great callback. That's a really pretty good one. Callback.
I think that one's my favorite.
That's a good one.
So tell me why your favorite's Jane.
No, actually.
It was so good to see Jane, though.
It's good to see Jane.
Like knowing how that went out, how that whole thing ended, and like what we see, like we saw her, I think, one other time, right? The actual trip to go see the vagina paintings. That was the one other time we saw her, but this was like, it was perfect to bring her back just for that one little moment. The last thought, like the last thing that's on his mind as he's leaving Jesse Pinkman and that whole life behind is Jane. And I think that's so perfect.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Well, Andrea is nice, and he does pay tribute to that too with Brock, which I think that's my favorite callback. Just Brock being mentioned at the very end.
The one person he wants to say bye to.
Yeah, not his parents. I have issues with the parents. Not necessarily the parents. It's a building that I have issues with. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, Brock's my favorite callback. Jane's awesome. But I guess they kind of go hand in hand because you're saying goodbye to somebody, but you're going to have Jane with you forever type of thing. That's how I kind of look at that too, which is great. It's a great memory. Which would be nice to have like a little Andrea memory, but at the same time, they weren't really together. They were kind of off and on again. You didn't really have dedicated episodes where, like, for almost half a season where you were with this person. Where it's kind of very off again, off. I think she's pushing maybe 10 episodes, maybe.
Yeah,
it's very limited. But Jane is also kind of at the same time, but she has substantial more screen time on within
and
Andrea.
and even that, Andrea's great, and you almost feel like it's the Andrea Brock combo that really draws Jesse in.
Well, it's also
But
the little kid too that got killed because combo.
yeah, Tomas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, Jane was the love of his life. Like
Yeah.
Jane was it, and so
And one
that's
of
the
the last
one that's going to
things,
be.
and one of the last
Yeah.
things that Walter said to him was, "I killed Jane." One of the last things. So
I think it like what outside of just like I want this, basically. That was like the last thing he said to him.
Mhm.
Like, because that was like the only words he said in that final episode to Jesse.
say, "I want this."
And
Or
then
it's like,
he gave him a couple looks of just acknowledgement. But
yeah, but
yeah.
that's about it. So yeah, good. I like that category. That was. I think that's a right category to do here.
Mm-hmm. And then well, and you start the episode with Mike.
Yeah, it's a
And
perfect way to
so
end.
it's like
All right,
he ends up where he is because of Mike,
yeah.
who was like the mentor he always wished Walt would be. You kind of felt like.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
then you have then you got the scene with Walt, which is a great scene too. And I remember it was like they had to like smuggle Bryan Cranston into New Mexico to film this one scene because they wanted to keep it so low key that this was happening and that he was going to be a part of it, that it took some work. It took some work getting him in there.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's good. Oh, the RV is another thing we didn't call back. The RV with the bullet holes in it.
Oh,
So,
yes.
okay, so this is where I had the callback with Walt. Was that after Hank was right outside? Because who shot the bullet? Who shot
No.
again? I'm
The
trying to remember.
the bullet holes had been there since Emilio and Crazy 8. They've been
Correct.
there since
Yeah.
the first episode.
Yeah, for the first. Yeah, that's right. So
I
when
think
did this actually happen? Because my thought was like this happened shortly after. The RV stayed in that lot, so it was before
yeah.
Old Joe.
I think this was after after they had to build the battery. Because remember that episode they went and because I'm almost positive that's when it is, because remember they went and did that huge like weekend long cook, and that's like when Jesse found out that he had cancer and all this stuff, and they like cooked a ton of it, and then they're like, you know what, we're good. Let's go get a night in a hotel. Let's go get I bet there's a Denny's around somewhere, and then the RV won't start. And so then that they go through all of that. So it would make sense that after all that and they wrap it all up, they end up at a hotel. They end up getting a breakfast at a diner, and they're talking about, all right, how long is it going to take for everything that we just cooked for you to unload that? And do you think there's anybody that would just buy it all? And because that was their biggest cook to date, and that was what they end up selling to Gus.
Mm-hmm. That's a good call.
So I think that's when it was.
That's a lot.
Maybe, or it might have been even earlier. It might have been what they were going to sell to Tuco, because that's when they wanted to start wholesaling. But my thought is it's like early to mid season 2, when they have to build the battery. Wire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call. The best stick man of the episode. That
yes,
antenna.
The cell phone antenna. Exactly.
Good call.
All right. The old Joe Gomi minor character of the episode. I mean, this could be a callback. It could be not a callback.
Badger and Skinny Pete. I think they really make it. It's fitting that those two guys are in this episode. They love Jesse. You're my freaking hero and shit, man. You got Cheeto dust in the controller. It's freaking out apexing when I'm supposed to.
I'm apexing.
Yeah, it's great. That whole that Badger and Skinny.
That's good. I put down Clarence, but honestly, I think my favorite minor character is Walt. Because this is the one time Walt is a minor character in his own story. Because for the first time, it's not his story. he gets to play the complimentary role to someone else's story.
That's
And
why. Yeah.
yeah, and it's cool. It's cool to see him come back and how, and all these comebacks though, it's just showing everyone that's living rent free in Jesse's head, right? No matter what happens, he's always going to have Walt back there somewhere. He's always going to have Mike back there somewhere. He's always going to have Jane back there somewhere. He's always going to have Todd back there somewhere. Like they're all there. And he's got to live with it. But he's also living a new life. And I love the symmetry of the opening shot and the closing shot where it's him driving away in a manic panic, and then he's driving away at peace because now he's finally
Perfect
free.
Yeah, perfect bookends. Yeah, good call.
All right, the cow house dumbest thing said of the movie. I'm just realizing this is our last time going through all these categories. We don't know what the categories are going to be when we start a new sideshow. It might be, I mean, they won't be called the same thing.
Yeah,
but yeah,
not.
last time through all these categories.
Yeah, last one through the Breaking Bad ones, because I know Better Call Saul's gonna have some different takes too. So,
oh yeah,
Church, yo, you couldn't drive Miss Daisy. We said this already.
Church,
you couldn't even drive Thelma and Louise off that cliff. You're like a blind person driving with no legs, bro. That's a good one. Pretty bitchin', huh? That's another good one. I never really go for redheads. That lady from the Hummer, stupid. And then pineapple's good for you. It's got bromide.
I mean, you're close.
No, you're not.
Not really close at all. But
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was one. That was one I did have it down to.
Yeah, those are what I had.
So the whole well, first you're gonna have to get your GED, and that's fine. It's like, no, I don't. I have a diploma. You were on the stage when I got it,
Dick.
I graduated. Like that.
Yeah,
that whole
that's a good one. Old Joe saying magnets.
Yeah, magnets. To tell you the truth, I really didn't think that was gonna work.
That was good. Old Joe was great, man. I love that he's back. He had Red Lobster too. Good call.
And then the other one was, I know you're the guy. I'm 96% sure that you're the guy. I was talking to Todd earlier today, and he had already watched the movie. He goes, that feels like such a non-Jesse line to say. Like he would never just be like 96% sure. But I don't know if I necessarily agree with him. He was just kind of in a panic there, and he was gonna say what he needed to. All right. Problems or outdatedness of the movie.
Yeah. Axe body spray.
But see, here's the thing though. This is 2019, so like it's 2019 looking back at 2013. So I think there might be like a call out to Axe body spray. I mean, I teach middle schoolers. Axe body spray is still very much a thing. Trust me.
I
like a bomb going off in the classroom.
Oh yeah, dude. I was a counselor one year for camp, and I was like, you guys take showers. Do not shower yourself in Axe body spray. That's my rule in this cabin. You take at least a shower every 2 days. Got it?
Mm-hmm. That's a good call.
You got to do it.
All right. Anything else?
Well, that failed miserably. Asking truckers to honk. I think that's also still a thing there. Todd's music. His music was so awesome. Because there was like the making of the El Camino. He actually says, he was like, this whole time I played this character, I always wondered what kind of music does Todd listen to? Because that's how I associate with my characters. And I never knew until right this episode.
And that one is so weird because you see you like it's a juxtaposition of him just kind of grooving along, like driving insanely slow that a semi has to pass him, not even when it's his like the dotted line is on the wrong side and the truck passes him and he's just like, give me a honk. And he just keeps singing his song while Jesse's laying in the back next to the dead body.
Like, so good.
There has never been a more Todd moment than that right there. That's all you need
So
to
good.
know
I love it.
Todd.
Yeah, that's a good one. John Henry, this bitch. John Henry wasn't known for his running speed. He was known for like hitting stuff like with a sledgehammer on a railroad. Is that correct? Am I completely wrong on this?
I have no idea.
Yeah, John Henry's a tall tale, just like Pecos Bill.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Babe the Blue Ox and Paul Bunyan. Those are all tall tales, and that's what John Henry was. At least I think that's the guy. If not, I'm sure somebody will let me know out there. Anyway, that's what
Yeah.
I had for my outdated flaws. How did Jesse know where his parents lived? Because didn't they move because he bought his house and they weren't
No, he
talking about
bought the aunt's house.
but they wait, what? I thought that's the house they lived in.
No.
Did I miss this? Did I
You missed this
misunderstand
complete. No, this was the house Jesse had lived in. Because Jesse took care of his aunt who was sick with cancer till she died, and he got to stay in her house afterwards. And the house, the actual possession of the house went to Jesse's parents. So Jesse's parents owned it and allowed Jesse to stay in it. And then when Jesse went down the tubes, they said, we're repossessing the house. They emptied the house out. They remodeled a whole bunch of stuff, fixed the upstairs bathroom, obviously, and then put it on the market. And then Jesse bought the house from them. He did not buy his childhood home.
Wow, wait a second. So from season 1, that same house that Jesse had all those bums living, that's the same house that Crazy 8 died in?
Yes. Now
Holy cow.
here's the continuity. The continuity error is from season 1 to season 2. That house was no longer available, so they had to. So that's why they throw in the scene with Jesse and his dad, and it's like it looks like you're doing some remodeling. It's like, oh yeah, we completely redid this. We redid this. We detached the garage because the new house that they could find that was as close as they could find had a detached garage, while the garage, the other one, was attached.
There was no gate in front of it anymore either.
Right. So that they had.
Okay, I'm like, am I an idiot? Like, how did I not realize that was the same? Because my next one is
reality. It was a different house, but the idea was it was the same house.
Okay.
That was Jesse's house that he bought back from his parents.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because my next one was like, how did Jesse and Jake's heights are on the door frames if that's not the house they grew up in? But now it makes more sense. I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm the biggest. How did I not catch this? Okay, that makes, knowing the backstory of that makes, okay. I don't feel so stupid now. All right.
You just completely missed that whole plot point. So
I just missed that whole. I remember the conversation now because they were in the backyard when he was working on it because he snuck in the back to talk to. Yeah, I remember this now. Okay, I got you now. I'm tracking.
Okay, I've got my biggest outdated is Todd's waistline. But other than that, I just have a question. How long do you think it took Badger to get back home from the border? Like he was hitchhiking his way back. Yeah, it probably took him a while. And my other question is Huel still sitting on that couch?
Probably.
Because I think he might be.
At this time frame, he probably still is because it's been a day. It probably still is. Star Witness.
Does he have a TV? If he has a TV, he might have turned it on and been like, we're looking for Jesse Pinkman. He goes, wait, he's still alive?
Darn it. And that's when he gets up on the couch. It's after this.
Yeah. But this is like 6 months later from when he first sat on that couch.
Yeah. Oh, the next spinoff is Lazy Boy, a Breaking Bad movie. It's gonna be about the couch that Huel's on. That would be interesting. I would watch it on Netflix for free. Mm-hmm. Not pay for it.
Make it like a Robert Zemeckis Here thing where you just have the same camera angle of the couch the whole time, and you just get half the movie is Huel, but the other half the movie is everyone else that stayed at that safe house.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that'd
like
be
it.
interesting. It'd be like a web series.
All right,
That's
midlife
a
crisis
smart
moment.
one. Owning a complete encyclopedia collection. That's kind of up there. The promise of no, I want to say that one. Owning a Brita and loving tea. That's a good one. But I think the most obvious one here is, I think everybody can relate to this. Is the most relatable thing in the entire movie. You bust your ass all year on a special, or maybe on just a specific job. Hey, we're getting you pizza. That's gonna be good enough, right? Call it good. Thanks for all the hard work and all the money in our pockets. We're getting you pizza though.
Pepperoni
Oh, classic.
and beer,
And
ice cold
beer.
beer.
So it's like,
Uh,
yep, that's it's very relatable when you become older. It's like, oh, that's pizza again. Okay, cool, right on.
It's a good call. My midlife crisis moment is your banner. Shut up means everyone.
Yeah, that's good.
Like
Yeah,
I've had those moments, especially like in class. I'm like, be quiet, be quiet. Yeah, that means everyone. You don't
yeah,
need a special invitation to stop talking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me invite you to the party of shush, please.
Mm-hmm. LVP.
Uh, yeah, LVP. Uh, gussets and fish plates. Gussets and fish plates. Is it gussets? That's the wrong. I'm probably saying that wrong.
Oh, gussets. Yeah.
Gussets, yeah, gussets and fish plates. There's a lot. Can you just put more gussets up there and add another fish plate just for
I mean,
safety?
it's your money, but
Yeah, and then
this thing
also
could hold an F-150.
yeah, another LVP is Jake's birthday.
Mm. I didn't really have like
Yeah,
a great LVP. I'm trying to think back. Maybe it's Clarence sleeping in the Hummer. That might be the
yeah.
LVP, which
See,
you've
like
already mentioned.
he should have he protected those girls. Who knows what they would have done? You know, at least stand outside.
Or bringing a Luger to a duel. Like that's a pretty LVP moment.
It's like bringing a BB gun.
I'm bringing a World War II Luger to a duel.
It's my
Like,
grandfather's.
I don't know, I think it's my grandfather's. MVP.
I want to say Jesse because his story is exactly how everybody I think wanted it to end.
Mm-hmm.
Him just
You got the
going
ending
on.
you wanted.
Yeah, but I think that's the obvious pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the MVP really here is Skinny. He's the movie maker, ticket taker. If it wasn't for him, he's the guy that makes the movie happen. Is Skinny.
Yeah, those
That
were
was
the
pretty
two I
quick.
had down too.
Well, sorry.
That's okay. I'll think of something else.
Ed's pretty good.
What?
Ed's pretty good.
Ed's pretty good. And still ruthless. Like
Oh, yeah.
I need double. Like really? And you're 1,800 short on a $250,000 ticket.
He's like,
I
"Oh,
mean,
you gonna take it? No, I'm packing your stuff up." And yeah,
yeah. But that's how he's always been. Like he was charging Walt $10,000 an hour for company. So, um, yeah, I would say, all right, my MVP is a tarantula. The tarantula survived.
yep, that is true. Hey, dude, this guy's got a tarantula in here.
The other one is the Fiero. Take care of her. She's a special lady. Man, she's a clown car. No criminal will be caught in that.
Pretty bitching, huh?
Yeah, it's
Built for
great.
love.
It's not my fault I'm built for love.
Good call.
Well, there we go. I I don't need to ask you what's next because that's it.
Yeah, I think yeah, Jesse has his happy ending. It's pretty good. He's not
Yeah,
gonna be
nice
a
little
logger in Alaska.
yeah,
But it's gonna
nice
be
little
good.
coda, nice little
Yeah.
epilogue here. Now do you think Jesse runs into Dexter Morgan in the Great White North? as a
Dexter is
lumberjack.
more in Oregon, though, right?
I don't know. I don't know where he is. I never
I
watched
think
the last season. He's a lumberjack somewhere.
He's in Oregon.
He's in Oregon. Well, then he's not going to run into him in
He's
Alaska.
probably running into Napoleon Dynamite hunting wolverines. That's I've spent all summer. I've been in Alaska hunting wolverines. My uncle. Yeah, that's more likely.
That's where he's at.
Yeah, I hope not. That would be lame. Kick Napoleon's ass, Jesse. Let's go.
All right. Well, this is kind of the end, but not really. We've got one more thing coming out with the sideshow, as we're gonna wrap up our study of Breaking Bad with our character draft.
One thing I always wanted to know, especially when we do these deep dive conversations of films that are celebrating their anniversaries, your current rating is 3.5. Do you stand by that rating? Is it still a 3.5 star movie?
Yeah, I'm sticking with 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at right now after the watch. I think it's pretty dang flawless. I think it's not perfect by any means. There are some stuff that but at the same time, it's a good homage, good love letter to a good closing chapter to the Breaking Bad, the Jesse and Walt story. So
it's Breaking Bad, but it's not really Breaking Bad. It's like Breaking Bad adjacent.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of more cooler shots in this movie than there was in the show, though. There's like some really good shots here. Even like, look at that sunset; it's gonna be beautiful. And they pan out like a big aerial. Like, there's a lot of good drone shots.
And that wouldn't have been a thing in 2013. That's a good call.
Yeah, that's a good. There was a lot of good shots. Like, there's just a really very cinematic feel to a TV show movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is a wrap on Breaking Bad. In closing, the sideshow will return for season 4 very soon.
4. It was
season 4.
Band of Brothers. Then it was Barry. Then it was Breaking Bad. Season 4. We've talked about Better Call Saul. We might be doing something else in between just to kind of clear our heads a little bit. We'll see.
But very soon that will be announced. But I want us to all remember one thing that Uncle Jack said. Life's what you make it. One more time, Terry.
Sit and spin.
Bitch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.